With the election just a couple weeks away, some experts are calling the race for the presidency a dead heat. And on the local scale, people are saying the same thing about the 2nd Congressional District. We'll preview the race between Lee Terry and John Ewing. Good afternoon, I'm Lindsay Peterson.
And I'm Anthony Pontiero. UNO is going through a lot of changes. We'll talk to Chancellor John Christensen about some of those changes, and we'll tell you about the new biomechanics lab on campus that is sure to turn some heads. You're watching the Omaha News.
This is the Omaha News, presented by the School of Communication at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, from the studios of UNO Television.
Next fall, UNO is making history, building a new 22,500 square foot biomechanics lab, which is sure to get people talking. Katie Wagner has more.
The UNO campus will soon be home to a $6 million biomechanics lab. It will be used to do research on the impact of the body. Isaacson professor and director of the Nebraska Biomechanics Core Facility, Dr. Nick Sturgio, says the building will not house classes.
Students who are interested in doing research in biomechanics will be using it.
The new lab will provide students like Jenna Yates with much needed space.
Being able to really lay out laboratories, that's a huge experience for me, because eventually when I become faculty and have my own laboratory, I'm going to have to do these same things as well. So it's an experience I really would not have gotten otherwise.
The new lab, which is solely dedicated to biomechanics research, will be putting UNO and the city of Omaha on the map.
The most amazing thing about this building, it is the first of its kind on the globe.
The lab is set to open by August 2013. For the Omaha News, I'm Katie Wagner.
Currently, the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia, has the largest university-based biomechanics lab in the world at 30,000 square feet, just 7,500 more than the design of UNO's facility.
The University of Nebraska Omaha has wanted to expand not only student enrollment, but expand its campus facilities. Today, UNO celebrates its latest edition. The University of Nebraska Omaha will break ground on one of its latest expansion efforts tonight. The $24 million project, paid for mostly by private donors, will supplement UNO's already nationally noted service learning and volunteering programs. The Community Engagement Center's mission is to promote collaboration between the community and the university. Current university organizations such as the Service Learning Academy, the Brennan Labor Institute, and the Office of Student Leadership and Volunteerism will move into the center, making it their permanent headquarters in the 60,000 square foot two-story facility.
But there would also be in this space nonprofit organizations, and these would probably be up-and-coming nonprofit organizations, so this is kind of an incubator for them. They learn, they grow, they get various forms of support from the university, and in a way they grow up.
Sather says UNO students will then be able to assist those nonprofits as part of their curriculum, as well as gain valuable experience within the nonprofit sector.
The idea is this is space where people will come together, they will define what might be a research idea, what might be a need in the community that the community and the university could collaborate to respond to.
Sather says weather and luck permitting, the project should be finished sometime in early 2014. The nonprofits to move into the new Community Engagement Center have not yet been chosen, but will be selected by a UNO committee.
UNO Chancellor John Christensen is a busy man today. Groundbreaking for the biomechanics lab took place just an hour ago, and in less than another hour, the groundbreaking for the Civic Engagement building will begin. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Christensen. How is both these buildings unique among American universities? So what does this do for the university's visibility?
Well, Anthony, thank you for having me here today. This is a great day in the history of our campus. We are breaking ground for the biomechanics lab. We're also breaking ground for the Community Engagement Center. Both of these are going to raise our national visibility. We, within the last month, have had 2 leaders of national acclaim in community engagement, and they have come to Omaha to see what our plans are for the Community Engagement Center. Both agree that this is going to be a unique facility in the U.S., and in keeping with that, the National Coalition of Urban and Metropolitan Universities has made a decision to hold its national conference here in Omaha in 2015, primarily so that people can be exposed to this facility.
All right, what do these facilities contribute to the Omaha and Nebraska community?
Well, the Community Engagement Center obviously is about our ability to partner more effectively with the community to address community issues and challenges. And so there is going to be a very direct and immediate benefit to not only our students who are involved, but to the community. The biomechanics research facility, the results of their study of motion and how it relates to health and wellness, their work in terms of addressing issues of motion, human motion challenge, or disorders will help in the remediation and intervention with people in that circumstance. And so it's not only going to serve metropolitan area, the metropolitan area community, it's going to serve the state as well as well beyond.
All right, with the buildings taking part of the faculty parking lot, how will that affect the parking situation in the future?
Well, parking is always an issue on metropolitan campuses. It's a very valuable commodity. Comparatively speaking, nationally, we have one of the better parking environments for a metropolitan university, but that does not make it easy to continue to grow facilities and manage parking. In this particular case, we have designated other parking for students and faculty, and I think at the end of the day, we're going to be within 30 parking spaces of what we were. Now, below the community engagement building, for example, we are going to have parking dedicated to community, such that people will be able to come on and leave campus on a regular basis, which we think will help the partnering.
All right, one last question real quick. With the Board of Regents meeting this Friday, is the proposal for the ice hockey arena on the agenda?
As of an hour ago, it was on the agenda. We're also very excited about the possibility of building a home for athletics and also enhancing the student life of our campus by having an arena located just south of the Exarban Village. We think that this is not only going to ramp up recruitment and interest in the campus, but it's going to provide tremendous opportunities for student intramurals as well as participation in athletics without having to drive someplace else.
All right, well, thanks again for joining us today, Chancellor Christensen.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much, and this has been a great day for UNO.
All right, thank you.
Coming up after the break, Halloween is a week from today, and kids are eager to go trick-or-treating. We'll have Jan Moore in the newsroom to give us tips on how to keep your children safe on one of the most anticipated holidays in every child's life. You are watching the Omaha News.
PBS is the place you should go first.
There are no advertisers to be satisfied, only an audience to be satisfied.
We take our responsibility as journalists very seriously. We are constantly thinking about our viewers and what they care about.
We want to let you know what the information is, and then you decide what you want to think.
At the NewsHour, we are after the facts and only the facts.
I knew as a music teacher that there were festivals for piano students and that type of thing going up, but there was no real public recognition of children's achievements in music until they got to be in high school.
I was embarrassed because I was in middle school, but it was interesting because I didn't think I was good at that point, because you're middle school, you're just you could be best in the orchestra, but you're not sure.
I just remember the joy and the giddiness that these students had. They loved coming to the station and having a tour of the station, and it really meant a lot to them to actually have an interview at this radio station, and they were all so excited and so passionate about music.
When I became a classical kid, I got to go to the Gilsha Hum concert at the Joslin Art Museum, and that concert completely changed my life. Being a classical kid really changed the thought of, could I do music professionally? It was really nice winning something like that. It was pretty good.
The classical kids idea was one that stuck because KVNO is all about classical music. It was perfect.
You're watching the Omaha News.
Halloween candy seemed to be on every child's mind, especially when Halloween is just around the corner. Jan Moore is in the newsroom with more. Jan?
Thanks, Anthony. Last year, there was a dad in New Mexico who found a razor blade inside a Reese's peanut butter cups while going through his son's candy bag. Teaching your children before Halloween arrives about why it is important for parents to check their candy could save their life in the long run. Any grocery store you enter, there is usually a Halloween candy aisle, and candy seems to be on every child's mind.
I love candy.
How many times do you actually encourage your child to go out and collect candies from strangers? Most of the time, never, unless it's Halloween.
Trick or treat.
A message for parents to emphasize to their children is that part of the fun on Halloween is collecting the candy, but that by no means gives them permission to start eating their sweets on the way home. Randy Lynn Becker never allows her children to have any candy until she checks them.
We come home and I have the kids set all their Halloween candy on the kitchen table, and we go through it and explain that it's important that we look and make sure none of the candy's opened already. Nothing bad's in the candy.
Even if you collect candy from a house that you know, Halloween night, everything is so crazy, you have no way to know where that candy came from. There are ways that you can do to help your child avoid snacking during trick-or-treating.
I think my first suggestion would be to eat dinner or have a good snack before you go out so your children aren't as tempted to eat the candy as they're trick-or-treating, because as soon as you are done trick-or-treating, you should go home and have the parent or guardian go over every piece of candy you have.
Double checking your child's candy bag and making sure that everything is safe before they consume any type of candy will give you a little peace of mind. Anthony?
Jan, I have a question for you. What if a child comes home with fruit in his or her trick-or-treat bag?
Anthony, that is a great question. When I spoke with nutritionist Elisa, she suggests that parents should just throw away the fruit because you just don't know what unknown substance is in that fruit. Back to you, Anthony.
Thank you for the tip, Jan.
An 8-year-old Pennsylvania girl was shot by her cousin who mistook her for a skunk at a Halloween party last Saturday. The girl is in critical condition. Police in western Pennsylvania said the homeowner heard there was a skunk in the backyard and asked her son to shoot it. He fired a shotgun once, hitting the girl, who was wearing a black costume and a black hat with a white tassel. The police are investigating and have not yet decided if charges will be filed.
Omaha police are searching for 2 men responsible for a home invasion turned gun battle. Police say a 21-year-old man and his girlfriend arrived home around midnight when they noticed a TV and game console were unhooked in their laundry room. When the intruders ran from their home with a jar of coins, they and the homeowner started firing at each other. The homeowner said that it was self-defense because he was pistol whipped and threatened.
Omaha police say they've made 3 arrests in the shooting death of 24-year-old Delino Wright, who was shot in a West Omaha bar on September 3rd. 24-year-old Avery Tyler faces first-degree murder and felony weapon use charges. 2 others, 28-year-old Ramisha Fountain and 20-year-old Jelani Johnson, were arrested on suspicion of being accessories to a felony connected to Wright's death. Coming up, Lee Terry has held the 2nd congressional district spot since 1999.
But John Ewing is trying to unseat Terry in a race that is said to be just percentage points apart. You're watching the Omaha News.
UNO TV invites you to take a journey around the world, to lush jungles with endangered species, to exotic lands and different cultures, to lost cities beneath the sands. Travel through time to see ancient secrets on the other side of the world, the growth of the American West, or the start of Nebraska's largest city, or just explore our state. Find out about Nebraska in World War II. Learn how Omaha has grown since. Discover the effort to renovate its green spaces, the history of one of its most impressive buildings, or look at its internationally recognized university. For over 20 years, UNO TV has produced award-winning documentaries that explore, educate, and enlighten. To find out more, call 402-554-2516 or visit unotv.unomaha.edu.
Something wasn't right.
Were they lying to the public?
There was a bigger story here than just a plane crash.
It's become the symbol of everything that's wrong with the industry.
My kid got 6 vaccines in one day and he regressed.
Not only are those children who aren't vaccinated at risk, but those who can't be vaccinated are at risk.
Nobody really knew what was going on. What was it in this market that had to be hidden?
I spent millions of dollars in cash, bribing government officials.
People in power do not like the investigation to come too close to them.
You never hear these stories.
Tuesdays on NET1.
You're watching the Omaha News.
Welcome back to the Omaha News. I'm Anthony Pontiero.
And I'm Lindsay Peterson. Lee Terry currently has Nebraska's 2nd congressional district seat, and after 13 years as a congressman, he's hoping to be re-elected because he feels there is still some work to be done. Lauren Harahill has a story.
In this congressional race, Lee Terry and his opponent, Democratic candidate John Ewing, want to focus on balancing the national budget, but both believe in different strategies to accomplish this task. Lee Terry has been known to vote for reduced spending and believes this is the first step to fixing the budget problem.
From 2009 to 2011, Congressman Lee Terry reportedly voted to cut spending 157 times.
Terry says to reduce spending, he would look into cutting welfare. His opponent, John Ewing, disagrees and says that America should instead reduce our involvements in spending in the Middle East. Flattening the tax code is another task Terry wants to pursue.
We have the most complicated in the world and also the highest in the world, but not all companies pay the same. A major company in Omaha pays 35%, but yet GE pays 0. There's something wrong with that.
Flattening the tax code would make it easier for small businesses to grow and make the U.S. more competitive in the global market, creating revenue to lighten the national debt. If re-elected, Lee Terry says he would not only work on balancing the national budget, but he would work on making the U.S. energy independent as well. For the Omaha News, I'm Lauren Harahill.
Trying to unseat the long 13-year run for Terry is Douglas County Treasurer John Ewing. And as our own Brett Kane found out, despite a steep disadvantage in campaign money, Ewing thinks unseating Terry is within reach.
Your vote now may mean more than ever.
These are some of the most difficult times that the United States has faced in recent memory.
John Ewing is running for a 2nd congressional district seat and if elected, says jobs are our first priority.
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is look at addressing the issues with jobs. When we've got 24 million Americans who are either unemployed, underemployed, or who have quit looking for work, we've got to be working harder to get those people back to work.
As important as jobs are to Ewing, he sees life after work equally as important.
I believe we've got to look at Social Security and Medicare long term. With Social Security, it's really a very simple fix. Either raise the cap on Social Security wages so that we have more money going in, so we don't have to reduce benefits or raise the retirement age right now or eliminate the cap, and we have Social Security solvent for the foreseeable future.
And as for the current seat holders,
the Associated Press just described this Congress as the most partisan and ineffective Congress in the recent memory.
Ewing says above all, his experience makes him built for Washington.
And my belief is that you need people who are ready to lead at a national level. I've done that in the Omaha Police Department with Homeland Security. I've done that as the Douglas County Treasurer, winning national awards for our Douglas County Treasurer's business model. I've done that when I was the chairman of the Von Mauer Victims Fund here in Omaha when we had that tragedy. So that's what we need, is people willing to take the challenge in these difficult times and people who are ready to lead at a national level.
We'll see on November 6th if Ewing gets his chance to make a difference. For the Omaha News, I'm Brett Kane.
Voters go to the polls on Tuesday, November 6th. Join us that night to get all the election results. The Omaha News Vote 2012 begins at 7 p.m. on NET2 and the Knowledge Network. Our reporters will bring you all the election results in the presidential election to state and local votes, including the very close 2nd Congressional District race between Lee Terry and John Ewing. And we'll have reaction from the Nebraska Senate and House candidates. Join us November 6th at 7 p.m. Coming up on the Omaha News, the University of Nebraska and the U.S. Stratcom has announced that they will partner up to create a University-Affiliated Research Center, or UARC for short.
We'll tell you more about this monumental agreement and how it will affect students. You're watching the Omaha News.
To go above.
It was something new.
Or reach beyond.
Oh my gosh, it's fantastic.
When you want to peer inside.
There's something wrong here. This isn't normal.
It would seem almost impossible. Or push the limit.
Large tornado! It's humongous! We need to get out now!
When you want to dive deep.
These divers are like astronauts.
Our human nature is to push into places that we don't know about.
Or go to the edge.
There are other worlds out there.
We don't know exactly what we're going to find.
When you want to find new frontiers.
I was truly astonished.
You just don't ever know.
Nova.
Wednesdays on NET1.
You've always known you were a leader, someone who works hard to achieve your goals. You can see it. You can see your success in front of you. You pursue a college education for the old-fashioned reasons, to learn, to make yourself more valuable, to succeed. You need a place that celebrates your ambition and positions you alongside visionary people just like you. You, my friend, belong here, the University of Nebraska at Omaha.
Most local television news only gives you brief headlines about issues that may be important to you. But for more than 10 years, only one program has remained dedicated to examining all the information about issues that really matter to Nebraskans. I'm Kathy Wyatt, and it's my privilege to present those issues for your consideration. Join me on the campus of UNO in a program we call Consider This, every week on NET1.
The University of Nebraska will receive $84 million over the next 5 years as part of a defense contract with Stratcom. Kevin Cleaver found out more.
There's a lot of excitement in UNO's College of Information Science and Technology. Recently, the University of Nebraska reached an agreement with United States Strategic Command for funding of a University-Affiliated Research Center, or UARC. Dr. Ann Fruehling, director of the School of Interdisciplinary Studies, will be one of the primary researchers involved in the project. She says the UARC will greatly benefit UNO's students.
It also provides incredible opportunities for our students to have hands-on experience doing research and also applying a lot of their skills and their knowledge.
UNO is now part of one of only 14 university systems to have a UARC.
This was a competitive process. And I believe that the reason why that the University of Nebraska system was selected is because of our diversity and the strength of our researchers.
The research contract will provide significant funding for new studies.
Researchers across the University of Nebraska system will work with Stratcom and determine what are some really important research projects that they have.
Bill Mahoney,
how's it going?
Head of the Information Assurance degree program, is looking forward to the applied research the UARC will offer.
We've been doing simulations of systems up until now that, we have some real hardware that's over here in the corner, as you can see, but a lot of what we've done up until now has been simulations because obviously you can't take down a real water treatment system or take down a power grid or whatever.
Even though the UARC is initially for 5 years, the agreement will likely last for many years after that, meaning many long-term benefits for UNO. For the Omaha News, I'm Kevin Cleaver.
Other institutions with UARCs includes Johns Hopkins University, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Pennsylvania State University, the University of Texas, and the University of Washington, among others.
The weather has been mild so far this year, and it may be surprising to learn that area shelters are still overflowing. As Marie Henusek reports, with the added strain on donations, there is a struggle to fill the demands.
Unemployment rates have been a heated topic this election, and for good reason. With the economy struggling, more people have been seeking assistance from area shelters like the Sienna Francis House. The shelters have been overextended this season, putting a strain on donations. Tim Soley, Development Director at the Sienna Francis House, says that the data collected between January and August of this year indicates a crisis.
There was 2,900 unique individuals who stayed here. Of those, it was just shy of 50% had never been homeless ever before. And so, this is huge.
The aid offered by the shelter is crucial to people like Christy Jankowski, who says they took her in when she had no other place to go.
It's really saved my life both ways. It right now is providing me with the things that I need, and it is helping me grow spiritually and live a life that's drug-free, and hopefully one day get my family back.
The numbers are expected to rise as the weather becomes colder, increasing the need for extra blankets, coats, and monetary donations. Despite the setbacks, the Sienna Francis House continues to provide more aid than the area shelters combined. For the Omaha News, I'm Marie Henusek.
On their website, the Sienna Francis House says that it is Nebraska's largest shelter serving homeless men, women, and children for over 35 years. For more information about the shelter, go to siennafrancis.org. That is it for this week's edition of the Omaha News. Thanks again for watching. Looking for more? Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/theomahanews.
While you're there, you can check out the news stories our reporters covered, submit story ideas, or give us feedback. We'd love to hear from you. From all of us here at the Omaha News and UNO Television, good night.
KVNO was in a really interesting place. This Victorian mansion near UNO.
3 floors. The studios were on the 3rd floor.
Bedrooms and bathrooms. So we had a challenge, but we ultimately ended up with an on-air studio.
We soundproofed it with carpet, and actually I think it sounded really warm, very radio friendly.
There were also rumors that the 3rd floor was haunted. Those were the maid's chambers, as we were told.
I had a sink in the office and leaded glass windows which looked out on the stable house in the back.
One colleague talking about having the window open one day, a warm spring or fall day, and a squirrel jumping through the window onto a turntable.
It was a great place, a great ambiance for a fine arts station.
It definitely had a charm to it.
The University of Nebraska at Omaha is a place for tomorrow's leaders, a place where individuals converge on a path to success, getting the attention and direction they need as they begin their career. It's where students take pride in serving Omaha, a city we've invested in for more than 100 years. UNO is a place where greatness begins. The University of Nebraska at Omaha.